Toronto is a great city, but when you're here, you should also get out into the countryside. In this week's episode of the Radio Vagabond, we're doing just that.
There's a bus graveyard, all kinds of buses, right? And the mechanics are laughing at me. They're saying, they're never going to get that to run. What are you, out of your mind?
Learn about making jam.
Jam is like 90% sugar, is that true?
Not here. Not here. Not here. Because my strawberries are so sweet, I don't have to.
Walk in the sunflower field.
Literally, that was my COVID project, yes. I tried the sourdough trend, but it wasn't working, so I switched to sunflowers.
Pet a baby goat.
Oh, she's adorable.
Relax among lavender.
If something isn't eating your garden, you don't have a good garden. It's a healthy ecosystem.
Sip fruit and cider.
How many trees do you have?
We've got about 10,000 right now.
Yeah,
and
like you said, a small mom and pop.
Yeah.
Visit an old watermill.
How much of this is all the way back from 1846?
Well, there is a wood lathe in here that could date back prior to the mill. We know its history.
That and so much more in this week's episode, packed with tips for a great day in the rural roots of the Durham Region east of Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Meet Palle Bo, a full-time traveler and digital nomad from Denmark on an epic journey around the world. At the age of 50, he made a bold decision. He sold everything, his house, his car, his furniture, and set out on a quest to visit every country in the world, documenting everything along the way.
I'm in Toronto, in Canada, right next to Union Station, really in the center of the city. Thousands of people are walking to work right now, heading out of Union Station and crossing the street in this intersection. And the reason I'm here this morning is because I've been invited on a day trip to the Durham Region. It's less than an hour's drive northeast of the city. I'm heading out to explore some of the most charming spots this area has to offer. I've been told that this day trip will take us along some scenic routes through some rolling hills, energetic farmlands and quaint villages, all something that offers a glimpse into the way of life that feels worlds away from this bustling city. So buckle up and join me as we drive into the rich history, delicious flavors and stunning scenery of this hidden gem just outside of Toronto. My name is Palle Bo. Welcome to the Durham Region in Ontario, Canada.
This is the Radio Vagabond.
Toronto is known for its cultural diversity, with over half of its population born outside of Canada. This mix of culture makes Toronto a vibrant, exciting place to live and visit. It's also a cultural hub. The city has world-class museums, a lively theater and concert scene, and one of the biggest film festivals in the world. Its skyline is iconic, but it's not all concrete and glass. The city is also full of green spaces. You can go from the heart of downtown to a peaceful park or the lake in minutes. As a major economic center in Canada, it's a place where ideas are born and businesses thrive. Toronto is consistently ranked as one of the most livable cities in the world. It's safe, clean, and full of opportunities for everyone. It's a place where you can build a good life, surrounded by friendly people in a welcoming community. Toronto's blend of diversity, culture, and opportunity makes it a unique and incredible city to experience. Having said that, it's a big city, and it's only getting bigger. Toronto's population has grown significantly over the last 20 years. The Greater Toronto Area has grown from around 5 million to over 6.6 million. This rapid growth brings challenges. Housing costs have gone up a lot, traffic is more jammed, and public transit is often crowded. So it's nice getting out of the city too, and that's what we're doing today. I've been invited on this trip by Durham Tourism, and on that a quick disclaimer. This is a paid trip, but everything I say in this episode is, as always, my own opinion. Anyway, as we're leaving the city, let's have a few facts about where we're heading.
And now, facts about where we are.
The rural roots of Durham are scenic drives that invite you to explore the picturesque countryside of Durham. These routes were created to highlight the area's agricultural heritage and connect visitors with local farms, markets, and small businesses that have been a part of this community for generations. As you journey along these roads, you'll pass through rolling hills, farmlands, and charming small towns. You can stop at farm markets to pick up fresh produce, visit historical sites like old mills, and enjoy the natural beauty that defines this region, making them perfect for a relaxing day trip. These routes are not just about the scenery. They're about connecting with the land and the people who work in it, offering a glimpse into the traditions and lifestyles that have shaped this area. If you're in Toronto and looking for a break from the urban hustle, the rural routes of Durham provide a refreshing and enriching experience just a short drive away.
And that was Facts About Where We Are.
My name is Bond.
Radio Vagabond.
If you go to the link in the blog post for this episode, you can see these routes and start planning your own day trip around the countryside of Durham. On this trip, we're going to hit 5 stops, and we start at the Tindall Farm Market, a third-generation family-owned farm located in Uxbridge, part of the so-called Leaskdale Loop. This farm has been in operation for over 60 years and is known for growing 95% of what they sell right here at the farm.
So we grow as much as we can here in-house. We grow 100 acres of pumpkins, every color you could ever imagine. We grow 250,000 pounds of cabbage, 250,000 pounds of broccoli. We also grow the kale, the lettuce, the zucchinis, the tomatoes, the cucumbers. But then we also support other Ontario growers as well. We have a great farming community in the southwest side of Ontario. They grow my leeks, my radishes, my green onions. They sell my cauliflower and I sell their produce as well. So we all work together, and I always say if we work together, we win together. So then what we also do here on the farm is I take everything that we grow and I turn it into something else, whether it's zucchini relish, strawberry jam, which is what we're making today.
This fast-talking woman is the passionate Karen Tindall. She's the owner with her husband Ryan, and her title, according to the website, is Market Manager, Baker and Cook. And speaking of cooking, we're in the kitchen and her teenage daughter, Jessie, the 4th generation of the Tindall family, is helping out. It's a fairly big operation. For example, they grow over 1 million heads of cauliflower every year. So it's not just Karen and Ryan and their 2 kids doing the work. They have a team of migrant workers from Mexico. They call them the Amigos, and they've been working on the farm between 5 and 20 years. One of the things Tindall Farm Market is famous for is their jam. The jams made here are created using fruits grown directly on the farm, ensuring that the ingredients are as fresh and flavorful as possible.
How many different fruits are you using for the jam?
I grow strawberries, I grow raspberries and blackberries.
Okay.
And I use those the raspberries and blackberries are just for jam. But then I rely on my other local farmers like Niagara peaches and plums.
So Karen, do you use special family recipes for the jam? Or
I wish they were. So I do have a family recipe for the chili sauce, but this is a love I have brought to my family, and I'm hoping my recipes will be carried down. I think the quality of the produce is the most important part too, and because we grow most of it here, it makes it much easier for my stuff to be fantastic. So
we were just talking on the bus that jam is like 90% sugar. Is that
not
true?
Here. Not here. Not here. Because my strawberries are so sweet, I don't have to. No, I don't use as much sugar as I'm supposed to. And this will stay fresh on your shelf for 18 months. So you don't have to.
Really?
Yes, so you're not taking up freezer space. Anything you can right now with the proper canning techniques, you can safely leave them up to 18 months on your shelves. Can you get me a jar without?
The Tindall Farm Market offer a wide variety of fresh produce, including seasonal items like strawberries in the early summer and pumpkins in the fall. They also host events like Pick Your Own Pumpkin Patches and Christmas markets, making it a vibrant community hub. Coming up, stunning sunflower fields and a baby goat as we visit the Sunflower Farm in Beaverton. We'll be right back.
The Radio Vagabond. Gotta keep moving.
What you just heard is recorded in the kitchen with a wireless microphone set called No Mono. It's from a Norwegian startup that's changing the game for recordings on the go. This thing is awesome. Once I record it, I connect it to their app and it automatically uploads to the cloud. With a few clicks, I can use the AI to enhance the sound quality, making it sound really top-notch, even in a noisy environment. It's incredibly easy to use, perfect for anyone wanting to capture professional audio without the hassle. If you're curious and want to learn more, check out their website at nomono.co. Give it a look, you won't be disappointed. Are you planning a trip to Toronto or anywhere in the world? You should start with a visit to hotels25.com. Here you can find and book your flights and the best price of a place to stay. No matter if a hotel room, a dorm room in a hostel, or a full apartment is your jam. It searches all the major hotel search sites and finds the lowest rate. Hotels25.com.
The ultimate destination for armchair travelers who are looking for inspiration to get out into the real world and let loose their wanderlust. This is the Radio Vagabond.
Gotta keep moving. Gotta keep moving. Gotta keep moving.
He's the Radio Vagabond with tales at every face, charting maps unknowing man. He's got it made. He's got it made. These vagabond shoes, they're blazing his crusade. Every step, every story, gotta keep moving.
Welcome to the Sunflower Farm. My name's Ursula. I am the owner and the farmer behind this beautiful sunflower agritourism business. It is a trail shaped as a sunflower through the actual field. So anybody who has an aerial drone, and I have some aerial shots online, you can see the actual shape of the sunflower. And we run various different events throughout the year as well. So our most popular event is our floral workshops, where you learn how to build your own bouquet. Other live music events we do, concerts, live sunset evenings in the field. So yeah, let's go through the farm. I'm going to let you guys kind of go through the trail. I'll come with you so you can ask me any other specific questions. All the sunflowers here, of course, they're beautiful. They only bloom for actually 2 weeks, and then it's over. So we have 2 fields planted. The one is kind of hidden back there. It's out of bloom now, so that was open 2 weeks ago. And now we're into our second field. At the end of the summer into the fall, all the sunflowers are actually going to be harvested for bird seed. So there is that agriculture side of it. There is a purpose to the sunflowers at the end of the season as well. And bird lovers love me during the winter.
As Ursula Kressibuscher mentioned, the trail through the sunflower field looks great from above. So I flew my drone a bit, and I put some of that in the blog post for this episode and on Instagram. By the way, you should follow me there. The Sunflower Farm in Beaverton is a popular attraction for its stunning sunflower fields, which draws visitors from far and wide. Sunflowers bloom during the late summer, so being here in mid-August is perfect timing for us. At the end of the trail, we meet the small family of goats, including the cutest little baby goat called Feta. We all got to carry the little baby goat, and if you like to see just how adorable she is, you can also see that on the radiovagabond.com.
Sorry. Yeah, I know you like to nibble now. Oh my gosh, she has teeth now the past couple of weeks.
So during COVID, I updated my website and
Yes.
my daughter took up knitting. What did you do?
I started a sunflower farm. Literally that was my COVID project, yes. I tried the sourdough trend, but it wasn't working, so I switched to sunflowers.
It is massive. Why? Why sunflowers?
For 2 reasons. One, I knew that it was a beautiful flower that you don't see around this area that often. So I knew that it would intrigue people to come and visit a sunflower farm. But also for the agriculture side, I knew that there was a product at the end of its bloom cycle so that I could sell the actual bird seed at the end of its life.
So it was part of your plan already from the beginning that you also wanted it a place that people could come and visit?
Yes, from the get-go, it was to create this agriculture tourism destination for people to learn about farming. I had the privilege to grow up on a farm myself, and throughout my travels in my 20s, I met so many people, both here in Canada and abroad, that were very, very much disconnected from farms. So it was a way to sort of educate that side of farming and what a farm looks like, an operational farm, and trying to do that, showing through social media the education side of like, what does it look like to plant a field of sunflowers? What does it look like to harvest a field of sunflowers? And all the work that goes into it from beginning to end. So I'm taking sort of these 20 acres for an agriculture diversification project and business.
Yeah, so 20 acres.
Yes, 20 acres.
How many football fields is that?
Don't know how many football fields,
I'll look
but
it up.
it's approximately 400,000 sunflowers that we're growing every year.
400,000. And they all look amazing. For somebody who wants to grow sunflowers in their back garden,
yes.
I didn't have much success with it. What are the main things somebody like me should know?
You should just come visit my farm. No, I'm joking. No, that is the main question I get a lot. It's a lot of time little critters that are coming to eat them, chicken wire, starting them indoors, planting them when they've already, emerged out of, seed trays, things like that. Yes.
By the way, 20 acres is about 15 football fields. You should also follow the farm on Instagram. Simply search The Sunflower Farm.
The Radio Vagabond.
Gotta keep moving.
From one beautiful farm to the next, as we head to the place called Lavender-Blu. Here we meet another passionate woman, Mila Haynes.
So here at Lavender-Blu, we tried to do things a little bit differently. So rather than having like lavender as a monoculture and growing it just in rows and having that as our main field and farm field, we have tried to do it more ecologically. So our efforts here at Lavender-Blu focus on eco-gardening, ecological gardening, and trying to protect the nature and our natural environment with native species, because our motto is to cultivate calm. So what we want to do is we want to share the space with the wildlife. And when the wildlife feels like, hey, this is kind of my space, I can really, gel here and I can live here peacefully, symbiotically with other creatures, I think that vibe is kind of passed on to the visitors.
Lavender-Blu is a small family business comprised of a hobby farm, a lavender garden, and a lavender artisan studio. Since 2007, Mila has been handcrafting value-added lavender products and teaching the public about the multifaceted beauty of lavender via workshops and community-based activities.
Everybody who comes to visit our garden, they receive this little booklet. It is a self-guided educational garden tour for the people who walk through the gardens.
Mila takes us for a short walk around the beautiful natural garden. In the lavender studio, she works with textiles, wool fibers, watercolors, clay, raw organic substances, aromatic essential oils, fresh pliable lavender, as well as the dried lavender buds to create unique lavender artisan products.
You do it very eco-friendly. You don't use any fertilizer. You don't even water.
We don't. That's right.
But isn't that a challenge? Some of the plants might get eaten by insects.
Yes, and my theory is that if something isn't eating your garden, you don't have a good garden.
Okay.
Something always has to be nibbling on your garden, because that is just, it's a healthy ecosystem. So it is a pattern that Mother Nature kind of figures it out, and we try as farmers to kind of work with Mother Nature and figure out that balance together.
But doesn't that hurt your business?
Well, I am lucky in the sense that I do grow lavender, and lavender doesn't have many
enemies.
That's right. I do understand, however, farmers who are growing vegetables or other flowers, where a helping hand, so to say, sometimes needs to, help the blooms and the production of the products. However, there are many ecological ways that we can do that.
The best time to visit is during Lavender Blossom Days, June 15th to August 11th. Visits are by reservation only, and the entry is $5 Canadian per person. And you can pick your own bundle of lavender for $15 Canadian.
My name is Mike, and this is my lovely wife, Pauline, and we're partners in our Town Trolley Tours Durham. You are riding today. I'll give it a name because Town Trolley's a lot of name. We call her Nellie.
I forgot to tell you that we started on a minibus in Toronto. but then switched to a trolley.
Now, I want to just mention to you that my wife, Pauline, is also the best trolley driver in Canada. Why I say that? It's the only trolley.
Nellie the trolley looks like something out of the hills of San Francisco, and it's owned and run by Mike Bryant and his wife Pauline, the best trolley driver in Canada. In a few seconds, I'll speak to Mike about how they ended up owning this beauty of a trolley and how the trolley ended up in a Disney movie. We'll be right back. First, I'd like to say a few words about what I do when I'm not doing the Radio Vagabond. As you know, I'm a digital nomad, and what I do is helping companies and individuals start their podcast. Are you looking for somebody to make your podcast sound amazing? Then I'm your guy. I've been in the audio game since 1985, so long before the internet and when podcasts were just a twinkle in someone's eye. I produced my first podcast in 2006, and since then I've worked with everyone from solo podcasters to big global brands. You might have heard of Lego. They've trusted me with 16 podcast projects since 2018, including collaborations with companies like Disney, Marvel Studios, and even the Rolling Stones. But you don't need to be a big brand to work with me. I'm passionate about helping all podcasters, whether you're just starting out or leveling up your game. And don't worry about the budget. I work efficiently, saving you time, money, and stress. Let's make some audio magic together. Drop me a line and let's get started. You can see more on my company's website, radioguru.co.uk.
This is the Radio Vagabond, a podcast from the digital nomad too cool to ask for directions.
This beauty.
Yeah.
It looks like something out of San Francisco, and it's got wheels and it drives.
Yeah, it is. Well, first of all, it's called the Town Trolley. And I've always been fascinated. I actually went to San Francisco many times, and I loved trolleys. And then one day I was driving down the road, and I'm a fix-it kind of guy, and I basically went in, talked to mechanics, and they said it was an old trolley that the town of Lindsay had bought.
How old is it?
It was built 30 years ago, and it's got, and Chevrolet built 2,500 of them to celebrate that trolleys were the first form of public transit way back in 1840. And then what happened, they were with horses and two drivers and, on mucky roads. And then what happened, Thomas Edison, I'm sure you know that famous guy.
I heard that name.
Yeah. So he came to Canada and he was inventing the electric light bulb and then generators for our homes to give us electricity. Well, he got the electric light bulb plant going in Peterborough, which is 1 hour from here, and they were the first city to have downtown streetlights. But he couldn't get his workers to work on time. So he called the trolley guys and he put electric motors on the trolleys and got rid of the horses.
Really?
True story. And on Charlotte Street, when you drive it, you can still feel the rails in Peterborough. And the coolest thing about it, it was the first form of green transportation, and that was in 1890, right? And then, of course, the TTC in Toronto had the same thing, same process. So what happens, trolleys ran until 1930, and then unfortunately, diesel.
They were on tracks?
On tracks, yeah. And what happened with it, big oil and diesel buses, which is the second part, they convinced government that it was better and cheaper. Well, it wasn't, because there was no pollution equipment and it polluted the world. It was just it was terrible, right? But what happened, the streetcars in Toronto, for example, they survived, right? They're actually trolleys. The trolleys in San Francisco, New York, and Boston, all those streetcars. And now what's happened, buses, the old diesel buses, are now electric, and now they're copying what Edison started in 1891, right? And there's a documentary out now, if you ever get a chance, made by IMAX, called The Trolley. And there's a belief that if we would have stuck to trolleys, right, that Edison started, in Canada at least, we would have no debt, no car payments, no insurance, all this high cost that we have for individual transportation.
So much for lobbying.
Well, whatever. So I fell in love with this, and I did it actually for children and for seniors and for families.
Take me back, you saw that standing somewhere and you walked in and said, is that for sale?
Well, a little bit different. What happened, it was a bus graveyard, all kinds of buses, right? And I walk out to it, and the windows are broken, the weeds are growing through it, the mice and the rats are running in it, bugs, the tires are flat, and the mechanics are laughing at me. They're saying, "They're never going to get that to run. What are you, out of your mind?" And I learned something about life, is that if you see something and you think you can fix it, seek out the best experts, and guess what? Maybe you can bring it back to life. So anyways, I went to the mayor up in Lindsay area, and I asked him if I could buy it, and he said, no, we're not allowed to sell it to you. We're going to put it out probably for auction. But they put up for auction in the U.S., but I'm smart enough to check everywhere, right? So anyways, and I won the auction. So I go to pick it up, and the guys are all laughing at me a little bit. And so I blow the tires up, change the oil, put new fresh fuel in it, right? A new filter and all that stuff. And I go in, and I put the key in, and I go, turn it. Boom. First turn it started. Wow. And I swear to God, I backed it up and drove it home.
There were some people standing with their mouth open.
Right? A lot of people say, that son of a gun, how could he figure it out? And, we couldn't. But why I do it, and it's probably a lot like yourself, you're educating the world. My hope is that maybe some little kid will get on, and I'll explain to him what a 454 Chevy big block engine is and how you can fix it, or, this is a trolley, and motivate them. And we learn something very exciting about ours. When the little kids come aboard, do you know what? They're not on their phones. They're listening to the history of Edison. They want to learn how a light bulb. They want to learn about not about Elon Musk's electric cars, but about the electric trolleys of an earlier time. Because he was the genius, quite honestly, in my opinion.
So now it's Town Trolley, and you use it for events, photo shoots?
We do everything. We do proms. I know it sounds crazy, but we just finished taking a bunch of grade 8 kids in their prom. Why? Because that's the best time of your life, right? And we want to be a part of their memories. And we do birthday parties, but we also do the biggest events like the Port Perry Fair, and we also do the Uxbridge Fair. We do all kinds of events for Durham Region. But the most important part is that we're always busy doing something that's fun. We don't do anything that's serious, right? And we also have made it sort of like a musical caravan, having a lot of fun, sing the old songs and get people, and one of our favorite things is when the kids are next to their parents, and I get them to thank their parents for bringing them and to give their parents a big hug and a kiss. Well, you know what? Parents need more love, right? So that's my thinking.
And then one day the phone rings and somebody says it's from Disney.
Oh my God, I fell over. I answered the phone, it was like November, we're not working. I said, "Hi, Mike," and he says, "Hey, I'm executive producer for making a Disney movie." I said, "Okay, who's pulling my leg today?"
Who is this?
Yeah.
Am I on the radio?
Yeah. And then so he says, "No, sir, this is real." And I said, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, we're making a movie, and it's called A Christmas Dance Reunion with the former co-stars of High School Musical." Yeah. Well, my heart fell apart. Like, I said, "Oh, you got to be kidding. I love High School." And then he says, I said, "Where are we filming this?" He says, "Up at Deerhurst in Huntsville, one of the most beautiful resorts in all of Canada. And then in Stouffville at the train station, and at Drysdale Tree Farm, and all these beautiful, majestic buildings. And we're all part of it. And now you can see it on YouTube." And I sit there, and I actually think the trolley's the star, but that's because I own it, right?
You might be biased.
But every weekend, my kids sort of say, "Dad, why don't you go and retire and, stop working so hard?" But you know what? When you live, like I'm 70, and I believe that if I can give a little ounce of teaching kids or motivating others to go and do something to save something. I don't care if it's an old, piece of woodworking or a book or whatever, or a car. Fix it up and give it to somebody, right? But why do we have to keep throwing it in dumps and make more and more pollution? So,
and you're 13 countries short of having visited every country in the world.
Pretty close.
Are you going to do it?
Probably. I'm probably going to do one of those junkets, 30 days, 30 countries, right? But I would go anywhere. I think that the greatest thing about being this time, right? I don't think of myself, I hope you don't mind me saying this, I'm from Canada, born Canada, we were like 10 generations. But I learned a long time ago, I'm a citizen of the world. Like, it's okay to give to charities in Botswana, or it's okay to help out. If we all think that way, it makes a better world.
I'm living the good life, and nothing can get me
From one person over the normal retirement age who's still working and loving it to another. Coming up, Fred Archibald, who runs Archibald's Wine with his wife Sandy.
If you've been listening for a while, you know a thing or two about Palabeau. And now, he would like to know a bit about you. So please fill out the 5-minute survey and answer a few questions.
It's on theradiovagabond.com/whoareyou.
Archibald's Wine is a family-owned fruit winery and cidery located on a picturesque property. They produce a variety of wines and ciders made from fruits, mostly apples grown on their own land. Fred gives us a fascinating story of how the whole thing started way back in 1968.
That's the year that my dad, my grandfather, and my mom and a whole bunch of brothers and sisters all got together on Easter weekend and planted our first apple trees here. And it was a kind of a different concept that my dad had than the one that we're working with right now. It was plant trees, sell them to a packer, and they'd end up in the grocery stores, and they'd send you lots of money. And as things went on, things changed. The wholesale market for apples kind of got a little bit soft in the early 80s. And my dad passed away unexpectedly, and we just had all kinds of things. I like to sometimes describe it as somebody threw a big basketball up in the air and I'm wandering around, should I catch this or not? And well, I did. I caught it. Sandy's family were Mennonites from Waterloo County, so she came completely equipped with recipes for pies and dumplings and crisp and stuff like that. And yeah, so we did all those kinds of things. One of the things that kind of led us in our own particular direction was the fact that I grew up in Niagara, and my dad was director of the research station at Vineland, had been a wine chemist at the old Bright's Winery. So I was interested in wine, and once we started making fresh cider as one of our value-added add-on things, we recognized that not every weekend do you sell every jug of cider that you make. And of course, it's got a limited shelf life, so the next step was to turn some of the cider that was going to go bad by next weekend into wine. And we did it for our own purposes to start with, and a few friends and family gave us a little push again. And then 27 years ago, that all turned into having a license to make wine, and we've been doing that ever since. They're thirsty. I know. So, all right. Well, there was this gentleman gave me a microphone. So
Sandy tells her husband that we look thirsty because we're also there to taste their wines and ciders. Archibald's Winery is a part of one of the routes in Durham Region, the one called A Country Path. As we're sipping the first wine, Sandy tells us a bit about how the collaboration with the route came about 10 years ago.
The unique thing about A Country Path, I think, is that there's a lot of variability in what we have to offer. We are farmers and makers. You meet the farmers and the makers along the way, but we're within a 5-kilometer radius. So it's really easy for someone to come for even just a morning and visit us, go up to the Tyrone Mill. Well, maybe they don't have to drink wine first thing in the morning. I don't know.
It's a good time to taste.
On a clean palate. And we work together promoting. And I guess, what am I forgetting?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I know what we're forgetting. Another sample.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hadn't forgotten.
We tried their dry wine, 2 of their ciders, and a dessert wine. That reminded me of the ice wine I had close to Niagara, south of Toronto, a few years earlier. And let me tell you, all of them were absolutely delicious.
How many trees do you have?
We've got about 10,000 right now.
Yeah, and like you said, a small mom and pop.
Yeah. Well, it keeps us pretty busy, and there are days when I wonder why I'm doing all this still. But
and obviously not all the apples are used for wine.
No, it works out to about a 50-50 thing.
Okay.
Depends a little bit on the year, but we like it when it works out nicely
How does
balanced.
the pick your own work? People come here with a basket and then
we
they
supply
get
the
an hour?
containers. Yeah, we supply the containers. We don't have a time limit. We do have a minimum purchase that we brought into the picture during the pandemic because it was so busy. The consistent things are the friendly, not too commercialized thing. but our game plan is still working for us, and
So 10,000 trees, half of them for wine and
Yeah,
cider.
roughly,
And
yeah.
how many bottles is that in a typical year?
Okay, so if we put the cider and wine and everything together, it works to about 20,000 bottles. Whatever we grow, we make here. Whatever we make goes out the front door. It's a small little circle, and there's lots of bear traps you can fall into if you start ramping up production with the hopes that...
Exactly, I'm thinking, I need to get it in every shop across the country. And
I can tell you the margins just get smaller and smaller and smaller.
Exactly.
So I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to become, just a name. I like the connection with the customers and still liking it. So that's always the important thing.
That's the main important thing.
Yeah. Nobody wants to keep doing something they don't like.
Yeah. I started working in radio in 85, and it was a hobby, and it still is. So I've never worked a day in my life.
Well, sometimes I say that too. People ask me, now that I'm in my 70s, people say, so when are you going to retire? And I say, I retired back in 1982.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to steal that line.
Yeah.
We finished the day at Tyrone Mills. It's a historic water-powered mill located close to Archibald's Winery, also on the route, a country path. The owner, Rob Schaefer, takes us upstairs to his woodworking shop.
So this is my woodworking shop. Wow. And it's like every other guy's woodworking shop. It's a little disorganized, and there's
as it should be.
Yeah. So the belt comes up from the basement to a line shaft in the other room, and then it comes in here, and then it's driving this shaft, that shaft.
It's been in continuous operation since 1846, and it's one of the remaining 19th century mills in Canada that still operates using its original equipment. Well, almost.
How much of this is all the way back from 1846?
Well, none of it from 1846. That'd be a bit too primitive for us, except for the millstones. The woodworking would date from about the 1880s. Though there is a wood lathe in here that could date back originally prior to the mill. We know its history, so.
It takes a lot of maintenance.
Yeah, I suppose, but not too bad. Okay. Just something I've required over the years. And it's what you become accustomed to.
The mill is powered by water from the nearby pond, and we got a chance to see the process in action, from the grinding of grains into flour to the cutting of lumber in the sawmill. The mill, situated in the beautiful village of Tyrone, is not only a relic of the past, but a working business that produces flour, lumber, apple cider, and other products using traditional methods.
And all this flour from that's wild.
The charm of Tyrone Mills not only lies in its historical significance, but also in the way it's preserved the craftsmanship and skills from a bygone era. It's a place where you can step back in time, experience the workings of a traditional mill, and enjoy the warmth of a family-run business that has maintained its commitment to quality and tradition for over 175 years. The mill's scenic location and welcoming atmosphere makes it a popular destination for both locals and visitors, and a perfect end of our day in the Durham region. It has been an amazing day, and I recommend that you put the Durham region on your list of things to see when you're in Toronto. What makes Durham region such a special place is that it's about connecting with the land, the people, and the traditions. You can choose between the different routes and plan your own day trip. There's so much to see, experience, and taste in the rolling hills of the countryside just northeast of Toronto. And why not sum up the day with a little song?
It's been an amazing day, oh what a sight to see. The Durham region's calling, come on follow me. From Karen's kitchen jam, so fresh and sweet, to Ursula's sunflower fields where land and sky meet. Put Durham on your list when you're in Toronto town, where the countryside's alive and the hills are rolling down. Taste the wine, feel the breeze, let the lavender be your guide in Durham. reside. At Lavender-Blu, take a peaceful stroll in Mila's artisan studio. Watch the magic unfold. Visit Fred and Sandy, where the fruits turn to wine. At Archibald's Winery, where the flavors intertwine. Put Durham on your list when you're in Toronto town, where the countryside's alive and the hills are rolling down. Taste the wine, feel the breeze, let the lavender be your guide. In Durham's heart, where the simple joys reside. Tyrone Mills is turning with the power of the stream. Traditions alive, just like a dream. See you on the road, where the stories never end. Until next time, my friend.
My name is Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.
Radio Vagabond.
Produced by RadioGuru.co.uk.